from 12 News. This is a Pinpoint Weather 12 Severe Weather Alert.
And welcome to this special digital show as we continue coverage of this big winter storm. I'm Shannon.
I'm Mike Montecalvo. We're pretty used to getting snowstorms in February. So far, it's places like south of Providence that have had the most snow on the ground, like in West Greenwich.
But just about everyone is feeling the effects of this one. Here are plows busy on 195 this evening, trying to stay ahead of the fast falling snow. And there's plenty of snow already in Narragansett, keeping this plow driver busy tonight.
Now, students in Providence will all be remote learning again tomorrow. Many school districts opting to use the remote learning capabilities they've developed during the pandemic instead of having traditional snow days. Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca joins us. Now, Tony, I know you have all the Doppler system and all the radars, but tomorrow is Groundhog Day. Oh. Well, we got to see what the groundhog has to say.
I saw my shadow this morning.
Did you?
Tony hates Groundhog Day.
Yeah, we're trying to use technology. I tell you what, it's interesting, winter storm forecasting in the smallest state in the country. And, there is such a wide range in what has fallen right now. I just got an update. Richmond, Rhode Island now up to 10 inches, where there's only been a couple of inches, 2-3 inches. Right in downtown Providence, other locations like Wakefield, 7-8 inches of snow, Westerly at 7 inches of snow. So it's been essentially an east-west gradient. The further east you go, the amounts have been much lower. The further west you go, especially west of Route 95, the higher the amounts. All right, let's first take a look at little Doppler radar. This is our winter mosaic radar, and the colors represent precipitation type. And we've been talking about this the last couple of days, that this would start as snow and then eventually transition over to some rain and sleet. It's been raining actually most of the night in the evening out on Cape Cod, the islands, and out on Block Island. And eventually this transition over to sleet and rain will work from south to north, northern suburbs being the last place to see that switch. Richmond is right about there. So picking up 10 inches of snow. And not as much across East Bay communities. I've seen reports, for instance, like Barrington, Bristol, about 2-3 inches of snow so far. And you can see that rain out across southeastern Mass. Here's the wider view. The storm is off to our south with temperatures. It's a mild winter storm. In other words, it's not snowing at like 25, 26 degrees. It's snowing at 32, 33, so it's a relatively mild storm. It's not super, super cold. So West Greenwich comes in at 9, Richmond coming in at 10, Charlestown at 8, North Providence 5, whereas in downtown we've seen reports of only about maybe 2 or 3 in the immediate downtown area. Attleboro, though this may be an older report, we're going to get an update on that at 3 inches, and Cumberland, I believe now, is up to about 3 or 4. So it's been snowing in the northern part of the state at a pretty good clip. So essentially we've kind of trimmed things back a little bit here. So this 4 to 8 inch band is essentially Route 95, though Richmond has picked up 10. And you can see out towards Newport and New Bedford, this is all going to fall generally in the 2 to 4 inch range. And then you get north and west of Route 295, going to go on the order of 8 inches to 12. So along the Connecticut-Rhode Island border, in this pink zone, anywhere from 8 to 12, and in this darker blue zone, anywhere from 4 to as much as 8. Though we've seen Westerly and Charlestown at 7-8 inches of snow, and again Richmond right here picking up 10, but also seeing an influx of significantly warmer air on the east side of the storm. Now you got some heavy snow, steadier snow in Providence right now. Poor visibility. Normally you would see the skyline in this picture, but with the reduced visibility, you're not seeing too much right now. So look at Smithfield at 32, while Hyannis is 42. So the further east you go, it's colder. That's why the higher amounts have been here, whereas the further east you go, the amounts have been lower because the air is milder. So that'll be the first place to see eventually a transition over to rain and sleet. Winds have been howling. Meteorologist Stephen Matrigano has been down in Narragansett, and he's reported, the car kind of shaking and some of these stronger winds. Look at these gusts, 40, 45 miles per hour. So the precipitation blowing sideways along the coastline. Not quite as windy in northern areas, but still gusty nonetheless. We're getting gusts between 25 and about 35 miles per hour. So evening snow and wind will eventually translate over to a mix of sleet and rain later on first in southeastern areas, and then lastly north and west of Providence. So you'll still see additional accumulations north and west of the city. But storm center is spinning right here off the coast of New Jersey. It's a slow mover, and what it's doing is it's transporting Atlantic moisture into cold air and producing snow. But at the same time, not only is it drawing in moisture off the Atlantic, it's actually drawing milder air off the Atlantic right now. That's why it's been raining really all evening long out on Cape Cod, and why we do expect southeastern areas to eventually transition over to some sleet and some rain. So the west side of the storm is colder than the east side of the storm, and that's why there's such a huge east-west gradient when it comes to the snowfall accumulations. So here we are midnight tonight. This pink line represents really the rain-snow line. So everything to the right of this pink line in green, it is rain. Everything to the left of this, Connecticut-Rhode Island border, north and west of 295, still some wet snow at midnight. And that's why the higher totals are going to be found here. And then overnight and into tomorrow morning, the precipitation is a lot lighter, so it's more of a kind of a light rain, light snow showers. This is 7 o'clock in the morning, still some wet snowflakes in the far northwest part of the state, but the green representing either rain, light rain showers, or drizzle. We go above freezing in the afternoon, only to cool back down quite a bit by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. So anything wet and slushy will freeze up solid by 11 o'clock tomorrow night, upper 20s to around 30 with a few snow showers. So here's the breakdown for this evening, with wet and at times heavy snow continuing, eventually mixing with sleet. And then notice as we get deeper into the night, we start to see more in the way of sleet and some rain mixing in as temperatures are going up. But even during the overnight, may still be snowing in the far northwest corner of the state, and that's why we're anticipating higher snowfall totals there. So for tomorrow morning, looking at more of a mixture of rain and snow, but I don't expect the intensity to be too significant, with temperatures rising through the middle and upper 30s. And then on Tuesday afternoon, it's essentially light rain and light snow showers. Notice how we're above freezing, and then towards evening, we start to cool down once again, so things will start to ice up a little bit. We may see the showers, rain showers, switch back over to snow showers tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. A couple of snow showers on Wednesday, brisk and cooler, nothing too significant at 34. Looking at some sunshine on Thursday, 39, mild enough for rain showers. On Friday, 43. Kind of a half and half weekend right now. Chance for some rain and snow on Sunday, but we'll take one storm system at a time. So Mike and Shannon, wide range in snowfall amounts at this hour, but looking at places like West Greenwich and Richmond, anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of snow. Or in downtown Providence, it's been like more like 2 or 3. One thing we've noticed is that, with pre-treating the roads that the DOT did, it took quite a while for snow to really accumulate on the highway. It's more wet and slushy than snow covered. So those pre-treatments, they really make a big difference compared to some of the rural roads that really don't get that chemical treatment.
Well, we saw that in Providence, Tony. We're on Facebook Live right now, and people are commenting and they have questions for you. You talked about the northern part of Rhode Island really getting hit. Debbie lives in Burrillville. She says it's still coming down pretty good right now. And Mary in Exeter says it's still coming, South Kingstown, it's still coming down heavy. So this storm kind of like looped itself, really, when you think about it.
Right. Sometimes the snow gradient can be from south to north or from northwest to southeast, depending on where the warm air is located and how it makes inroads. So the gradient is essentially, with this particular storm, is essentially northwest to southeast. So the further north and west you go, there's more in the way of snow. The further south and east you go, where it's milder out towards New Bedford and East Bay communities, it's a little milder, so it takes a little longer for the snow to accumulate. So, in the smallest state in the country, such a huge range in temperature. But regardless of amounts, certainly a high impact storm in terms of travel. We've seen a few scattered outages in the southern part of the state from National Grid. And I don't have the new numbers now, but there's been some. Fortunately, it hasn't been a widespread outage issue. But those areas that are colder, you mentioned Burrillville and Foster and things like that. We're still keeping you in the 8 to as much as 12 inches of snow. It's just further south and east. The amounts have been trimmed back a little bit, but it's still no picnic out there tonight. It's still kind of a tough go with poor visibility and some wet, heavy snow. Yeah.
Meantime, Tom Wright rubbing it in all of our faces that he's so glad he moved to Florida this past year. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. But we do have Melody in Exeter saying Exeter is still getting hit. Terrible visual with winds. Hard to see down there, Tony, in Exeter. But like Mike said, it's kind of, some people are kind of like, what happened to all the snow? And depending on where you are in Rhode Island, you either got hit or you were waiting for the catch-up to happen, and in some place it just hasn't yet or isn't going to.
Yeah, so in that original 8 to 12-inch band, that's been trimmed back a little bit to more like a 4 to 8 inches, 4 to 9 inches, and then further to the south and east, the amounts would be just a little bit lower, but still significant as far as you mentioned, poor visibility. These are wet snowflakes. Sometimes they're large wet snowflakes being kind of tossed sideways in winds that are 30 at times 40 miles per hour. The other thing is that, when it snows at 25 degrees versus when it snows at 32 degrees makes a huge difference. The snow tends to, at warmer temperatures, tends to be wetter. It's more compact, so it doesn't quite fluff up as high as when the temperatures are colder. It doesn't stick as readily on some surfaces when the temperature is colder, but still significant nonetheless. And if you're watching us in the northern part of the state, you still have several more inches of snow to go through before things start to ease during the overnight and into tomorrow morning.
We had Ted Cressy on from National Grid on 12 News Now at 5, and we asked him about, when are they going to be able to put electricity back into people's homes. I think there's 2,600 customers without power, most of them in South County right now.
2,400 in South County,
Right.
which speaks
Crazy.
to the fact that I know the winds were worse in the southern part of the state, Tony, and the southern part of the state got the snow first.
It did. So it started sooner in the southern part of the state, and TJ's been working off camera now. He just sent this Richmond. Okay, we mentioned Richmond's at 10, Westerly at 8, Greene, Rhode Island. So that's the northern part of the state with 7. Dayton, Rehoboth. Now notice that you go further east, the amounts are lower, 4.3. And for instance, at TF Green Airport so far, at 2.5 inches, you'll probably pick up an additional 2 or 3, and that would do it before the changeover to some sleet and some rain. So we do have some double-digit amounts, including Richmond. And I do think at least the northwest corner of the state, more than likely getting into some double-digit amounts, including like right along the Connecticut-Rhode Island border, western Kent County. That's West Greenwich, Hopkins Hollow, northeast Connecticut. 295 north and west. We're still in that. We're still having that 8 to 12 inch zone.
Do you have any numbers on North Kingstown? We do have a few viewers asking on Facebook what North Kingstown got total.
Looking at North Kingstown is generally in that kind of that 6 to 7 inch range. I don't have a hard number on North Kingstown yet, but it's still snowing there at a pretty good clip. Okay, my weather watcher Mike in Westerly, who reported 7 to 8 inches of snow, definitely mixing now. Took quite a while. So the mix in Westerly has already started, which means he's got a storm total of 8 inches in Westerly. And now he's mixing with sleet and rain. So what that tells us is that along the coastline, I think any additional accumulations are going to be really tapered down now. You've pretty much maxed out on the amount of snow that you're going to get. But that transition over to rain and sleet takes longer in the northern part of the state. Now, obviously, we don't have mountains in northwest Rhode Island, but we have elevation. Yeah. And our elevation in the northwest part of the state, western Kent County, and even up towards Richmond, ranges anywhere from 4 to as much as 800 feet, which, that is clearly not a mountain, but that little modest rise in elevation can make the difference between 35 degrees and 32 degrees, and then that in turn can make the difference between rain and sleet and all snow. So very, hairline differences in temperature and elevation can play really a huge factor as to how much snow falls. So geography obviously plays a big factor in it as well.
So Audra wants to know about no school in East Providence tomorrow. We tell everybody just go to our website, WPRI.com. Everything will be listed. A lot of these school districts are doing remote learning. Michelle wants to know, Tony, what's the morning commute going to be like tomorrow?
I think it's manageable, and the reason why is that during the overnight hours when we start to transition over to not only lighter precipitation, but some light rain and light snow, and then usually later in the evening and during the overnight everybody's off the road, and that's when the road crews can really get on the roads with nobody crowding them, and the net result is at least the major roads looking to be in better shape. That's not to say that they're perfect, but they should be in better shape during the overnight and early tomorrow morning. Can you tell me in my ear what part of this Oh, so 95, exit 5, West Greenwich. So that's where some of the higher totals have been located. And you can clearly see the snow-covered ground. But also on the camera lens, you know, a little bit, so it looks like some wet snow and maybe even some rain mixing in. So we do anticipate a changeover to rain and sleet there as well. That area, which has picked up anywhere from 8 to 10, may get an additional inch. But thereafter, once we switch over to rain and sleet, it should be pretty much done as far as accumulating snow there.
And we should mention just really quick, I know some viewers are mentioning they're having trouble getting our signal. We're having an issue with people who get us via antenna, but you can watch us on WPRI.com. We stream all of our shows on there. So if you're not being able to get it over your antenna on your TV, you can watch it on WPRI.com. All
right, and we'll have more at 10 over on Fox Providence, and we'll be on at 11 on WPRI 12. Stay safe.
Stay with 12 News and WPRI.com for updates on this Pinpoint Weather 12 severe weather alert.